Tony, I know you are international man. We met in Finland, but you came from England, and now you're living in Austria.
In Austria,
what
yes.
happens with you?
Yeah, it's a long story, but I was living, of course I'm English, and I was working in England and all the time, mainly working on grassroots level in cities, different cities, Manchester, Leeds, Glasgow. And then I began to get involved in training and supporting people doing that work, and slowly it became not just British but also European. And I moved to Prague and started to work in a network from there about supporting people doing mainly urban work, so working in hard-pressed communities. And gradually I moved to Finland because University of Applied Sciences, DIAK, asked me to go there and run some educational programs there. And then I retired and went to live in Austria, but somehow...
But you are leading our conviviality process.
Yeah, and that's because although I'm in Austria, I'm working a lot with InterDiak, which is an international academy for diaconia in Eastern Europe and Central Europe. And we were asked by the Lutheran World Federation from InterDiak to support the process about conviviality.
And what it means?
Well, that conviviality, it's coming from the history. In English, in everyday language now, it means to enjoy time together. But in the history, it meant the time when the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims in Spain, nowadays Spain, lived together in relative peace and harmony, so convivially. And we started to use that in InterDiak because we felt that diaconia should be a process to help people to find the right way to live together.
And now when we see this migration crisis, I think we should learn to live together.
I think so, yes, because I think that, of course, what we see in Europe is two developments in relation to that. One is the churches and civil society is very open to people coming in and very receptive and supporting. I know that from my own context, but on the other hand, there's a lot of hatred and a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of rejection. But always Europe has been a continent of migration, immigration, emigration. And I think now the challenge is to find out how we can live together with the new people who are coming here. That means also we have to change as well. That's the tricky part. It maybe means some changes in our everyday life, but we have to keep it in proportion. It's only a small group, really, who are coming here.
Next year is Affirmation Jubilee.
Yes.
And we have a big congress in Namiibia. What do you think? How they take over our ideas about living together? Yeah,
what's interesting is that we've shared this idea of conviviality in different contexts, not only in Europe, but with other contexts in the world. For example, in Latin America, and people working in Brazil in diaconia, for example, they found it very interesting because we took a Spanish word. Of course, they're speaking Portuguese, but it's very near. And they said, yeah, what we find important about that is that you are emphasizing people's dignity, that you have to build trust between people, and that you have to rely on the resources of people. And that's very important for our understanding of diaconia too. And if you take the migration question or the movement question, the African colleagues give a reflection that migration and this diversity issue is a really big problem in Africa too. You see it ends in wars very often. And we shouldn't forget that it also ends in wars in Europe too, but we see it more clear in Africa or Middle East. But I think my perspective would be there's a good echo from it. When we started it, I was somehow convinced about the idea, and then in the middle, when things got rather tough in the Ukraine, for example, in Europe, in the Middle East, I was thinking, is this really the right idea? And now, as we go along with the process, I think it really is more important now than it was when we started.
Absolutely.
So it's a kind of, so I've gone a bit in a parabola, starting here thinking it's really important, not so sure, and now very sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.